Hello and welcome to the next part of Let's Play Tomb Raider Underworld, in which we whiz off to Thailand to visit some Hindu ruins. And I'm not quite sure why it's low in the Mediterranean Sea. Oh, well, either way, it'll give us a bit of backtracking because I'm not sure everyone watched the entirety of the last set, given that it was in fact 8 sections long. And I think if this is just the very end of it, it'll just give us the cutscene. I'm hoping. What I did was, in order to compartmentalise the sets with the correct cutscenes playing at the beginning of each level, I deleted some of the saves that had automatically generated in coastal Thailand because I'd played through and recorded this set already. But I'd recorded it with the old system, which had far lower quality audio and also included the audio delay, whereas now I've actually done, it turns out that I hadn't realised I'd not installed the little driver application for my sound card, which does have a stereo mixing option, which is what I'm now using. And we're going to, why is it, A, why is it taking so long, and B, if we have to go through 2 loading screens, that'll be very disappointing for you and me. Okay, whatever, we'll do this section again. Doesn't take too long. Up we go, Lara. This is the mysterious jumping that she can do when she's on climbable surfaces. You can just press space and she'll go boing, 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 and never fall off. That's how, if you want to do everything fast, you do it. Down here. And here we go. In my opinion, Amanda looks profoundly weird in that cutscene. Anyway, this level coming up, as I'm not sure I explained previously, has what is, in my opinion, the best music in this. Let's go with the submachine guns, yeah. The best music in Tomb Raider Underworld, pretty much. But even so, it's not up to Tomb Raider Legends standard. The reason for this is the composer, Trolls Brun Fulman, who composed all of the music in Tomb Raider Legends, and also, coincidentally, some of you may remember a game called Project Snowblind. He actually scored that, I believe, working as a PhD student, as a kind of because he invented this experimental procedure of microscoring. Sorry, I've got hiccups. Anyway, whereas in this one, only the main theme was actually scored by him. So I'll let this go.
None of the ruins are visible from down here. And if Father did explore this site, I see no sign of it yet.
I still don't see how Thailand is connected to Vikings, or ruins under the Meta, hell, even Avalon for that matter.
Helheim's it. Various myths use different names, but they all apply to the same remnants of the ancient world.
One of those remnants is still alive. I would hate to be Amanda if Natla ever gets free. I would hate to be any of us.
Anyway, so here we are, one of the most beautiful areas in the entire game. So if we have a quick look around, we notice that the background is in fact painted on. And the only actually 3D rendered area starts about where her head is now, pans along, and finishes over there. It's this huge pillar, beautiful pillar sticking out of the water that we'll deal with. But first, we have to deal with the sharks in the water, so let's blast the crap out of them. Die, you cartilage-boned freak. Excellent. I'm not sure what kind of sharks it's meant to be, but either way, we'll happily shoot them down. It's also, sorry, as I was saying, for goodness sake, you're going to bug. The composer for this one, or for almost all the incidental music, was a man named Colin O'Malley, who is sadly not as good as Charles Brown Pullman, and it shows. The music is simply not as good, it's nowhere near as anthemic, there's less music, much more ambient, well, the music is much more ambient in its nature. I'm not saying it's more ambient sound, I'm not sure that's necessarily true, although it might well be. But the music itself is a decidedly different tone. I'm going to check where the other shark's gone. Where have you gone? Oh, why are you hanging around out there? Kill these to avoid storing problems for later. And you are going to poke. Interesting that I shot him up and then he decided to wander off over there. You'd have thought that if he was being accurately simulated, he'd go for the bleeding shark rather than for me, but who the hell are you shooting at? Anyway. If you noticed, I've got a blue Lara symbolising her breath, and when I go up to the top, it converts back to the adrenaline meter. The water is truly beautifully done in this, really, really nicely done. The other thing that's very well done is, as you may have noticed on the ship, there is an ambient reflection off the surface. What? Oh, animation bugs today. There's an ambient reflection off surfaces onto her body, as you may have noticed in that particular area when she was much lighter than she would have been had the engine not included it. But I'll point it out later on when it's more obvious. Also, you'll notice that she looks as though she's wet. I mean by that is not something rather filthy, but actually that her clothing looks damp and darkens in colour, and her skin has a map applied to it. So this is all part of their plan to increase the amount of coherence between Lara and her environment. The idea is that if she's part of the environment, then she should react to it much more significantly. So she brushes away dirt, she goes from she gets dirty when she rolls. Anyway, and quickly, this is an alternative route that we can see we can get to by jumping. So we'll jump and go up. So she also does things like if the... Oh, this is one thing that actually I read in the developer diary. I quickly looked up on the developer diary on YouTube earlier on, firing with one hand, new feature, that they were apparently intending that when ledges are wet, she's more likely to slip. Well, okay, but I've never actually noticed this. It's one of those things that they might have included, but very few people, I think, would have noticed it, even subconsciously. I had no idea it was intended to be the case. But I think it's cool that they tried it, but just maybe they should have made it more obvious. I don't know. Or maybe when we do come to it, you'll notice it, it'll be obscenely obvious, and I'll look a total fool, but there we are. So as we whiz along, this is a semi-blind jump here. If you kind of pan the camera, you can just see what's behind you, but I always, first time, tried to jump over there, because it seemed like you could do it and grab. New ability shown off here. She can now stand on thin ledges like that. Good girl. Go for a jump. Go away, spiders. Notice one shot per spider. You can do it one shot per spider. She is very good at shooting spiders. Another load of healthy stuff. I'll swing. Oh dear. That was very silly of me. I can't believe I did that. Oh, apologies. This is what comes of not believing in God. You fall off jumps. Anyway. Beautifully done, motion captured flying animations again. What was I saying about the music? Oh yes, anyway, this Colin O'Malley chap scored the rest of the game, and I do think it shows. He's just generally not as good. And also the range of music is vastly smaller. In Legend you have everything ranging from Mongolian throat singing in Nepal to sort of almost guitar-y techno in Kazakhstan, to various other different kinds of music. Oh yeah, there's kind of the cheesy club music in Tokyo and all this kind of stuff. And they even had those sort of cool Japanese drums, I'm not sure what they're exactly called, in the Tokyo fights. Yeah, that. Whereas in this, there's really no reflection the same way. It's partly because the whole thing is orchestral. There's no electronic instrumentation, which I think is not necessarily a good thing. Obviously, electronic instruments can be out of place and badly done. I don't think they were badly done in Legend. In general, everyone was very, very pleased with the soundtrack of Legend. It even won, I think it won some kind of award. Anyway, if we look out here, you'll notice there's a little treasure hiding on top of there, so we'll go and grab it. She does that one moment not to jump off the edge. Come on, old girl.